President Abby Vierick and YMS Student Council Vice President Jalen Kudera leading the Pledge of Allegiance, and the YMS Band and Orchestra plays our national anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. I would like to have YMS Oral Interp students Adeline Gokin and Angela Zane come up to the front. They'll be reading The Significance of the Poppy and In Flanders Field.
The significance of the poppy. The poppy has a long association with Veterans Day, but how did the distinctive red flower become such a dominant symbol of our remembrance of the sacrifices made in past wars? Scarlet corn poppies grow naturally in conditions of disturbed earth throughout the Western Europe. The destruction brought by the wars of the early 19th century transformed bare land into fields of blood-red poppies, growing around the bodies of the fallen soldiers. In late 1914, the fields of northern France and Flanders were once again ripped open as World War I raged through Europe's heart. Once the conflict was over and the poppy was one of the only plants to grow in the otherwise barren battlefields. The significance of the poppy as a lasting memorial symbol to the fallen was realized by the Canadian surgeon John McCrae in his poem In Flanders Fields. The poppy came to represent the immeasurable sacrifice made by his comrades and quickly became a lasting memorial to those who died in World War I and later conflicts. On September 27, 1920, the poppy became the official flower of the American Legion family to memorialize the soldiers who fought and died during the World War. In 1920, the distribution of poppies became the national program of the American Legion.
In Flanders Fields, Lieutenant Colonel John McCreek was particularly moved by the red flower he saw popping up all over European battlefields after the human conflicts has quieted. He noticed a cluster of poppies in Flanders Field in Belgium that spring, where he was serving as a British surgeon as an Allied artillery unit. Soon after, a huge battle torn through the area, killing 87,000 Allied soldiers, including one of McCree's closest friends. Overcome with sorrow, he wrote the poem In Flanders Fields to channel his grief. Told from the perspective of a fallen soldier buried beneath the poppies, it honored the troops who died. In Flanders Fields, by John McCreek. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow. Between the crosses, road on row. The marks are places, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly. Scare her aim the gun below. Where the dead, short days ago. We left, fell dawn, saw sunsets glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up a quarrel with foe, to you, from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if Eve breaks faith with us who died. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
Thank you, ladies. Each year, YMS 8th grade students are invited to join the nationwide VFW-sponsored youth essay competition. The competition gives students opportunity to write an essay expressing the view on their patriotic themes. This year's theme was, how are you showing patriotism and support for our country? In third place, we had Abby Varick. Second place, we had Tate Bertrand. And then our local winner this year was Angela Zhang. She will come forward and read her essay.
How are you showing patriotism and support for our country? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. The words rise with hands and hearts fixed on the red, white, and blue fabrics that holds the great promises of our country. The days unfold. Though many know the word doubtless, the story that shaping every word has slipped through time's fingers. I question myself, purpose, meaning, or just a habit everyone has grown used to. Yet, from the voice that declares our country's freedom, one word says it all, patriotism, in the pledge of Francis Spinelli. Francis Spinelli wrote the pledge in 1892 to celebrate the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus' arrival. Hired by the Youth Companion Company, Spinelli expressed his love for his country and his aspiration to strengthen the protection of the people, for the determination of those who protect their beloved country. However, as teenagers, patriotism isn't only shown through grand battles and decorations, it sparkles through everyday acts. I show my patriotism by helping others in school who feel in need, reminding them that they're not fighting alone in the dark. I honor the veterans through the waving melody of my violin every Veterans Day on the glory stage. I speak for others who feel untold as a member of leadership in school. I write on paper to remind others in every corner of our country about how simple acts shows unsimple patriotism. Nevertheless, I show by saying the Pledge of Allegiance loudly and constantly each morning, reminding those who sacrifice for the pledge to be spoken freely. Although Sparkle has said, I love my country, not simply as a phrase, but a promise fixed in my heart. I learned from the Pledge of Allegiance about showing such patriotism through every word of Francis Spinelli and how he live inside us. From now on, the simple yet powerful pledge will live to be a little step towards patriotism and supporting our country as a spark of encouragement. As I repeat tomorrow and on, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Thank you, Angela. Now we are on to my favorite part of the program here. The YMS Concert Choir and YMS Band will perform the Armed Forces, the Pride of America. All are invited to stand up and sing along with your branch of service. Band and Choir. YMS students and staff, we are deeply honored by your presence today as we gather to pay tribute to our veterans. Our students have been immersed in lessons of patriotism and the profound sacrifices made by the brave men and women in our armed forces, both past and present. Every year, we are grateful for the opportunity to celebrate you, our heroes. The Veterans Day program stands as a humble token of our gratitude for your dedicated service and unwavering sacrifice. To the veterans, to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and to the families who stand by their side, we extend our heartfelt thanks on behalf of the entire YMS community. Your commitment to our country and its people is a beacon of inspiration to all. On behalf of the YMS students and staff, we thank you. We are privileged to have Dave Hosmer be our guest speaker today. Abby Varick will give you a little intro of Dave. There you go.
Dave Hosmer is a financial advisor who works with Raymond James and is also a practicing lawyer, just like his dad, Larry Hosmer. Before that, Dave worked as deputy state's attorney and as the Yankton city attorney. Dave grew up right here in Yankton and graduated from Yankton High School in 1986. He went on to earn his college degree and law degree from the University of South Dakota. He's a big believer in education and still remembers many teachers and mentors from YMS, YHS, and USD who made a difference in his life. His mom, Carol Tisher Flynn, and his grandmother, Arletta Tisher, were both teachers, so education runs in the family. Dave has taught business law at Mount Moody University and even at the Yankton Federal Prison Camp. He once served on the Yankton School Board and loves helping students learn about leadership, law, and business. He admires people who take risks, especially business owners, and has run his own business as well. Dave served as president of the Yankton Chamber of Commerce 30 years after his grandfather, Harold Tisher, held the same position. He enjoys talking about entrepreneurship and mentoring young people who dream big. Dave believes in giving back to his community. He served on the Yankton City Commission, supporting projects like long-term planning and recreation. He's a big fan of the Ald Brokaw Trail. He also volunteers on the boards of United Way, Connecting Cultures, and the Sacred Heart Finance Committee, and has helped with organizations like the Center, the Homeless Shelter, and the Yankton Community Foundation. When he's not working or volunteering, Dave has lots of interests. He's a baseball card collector, a fan of the First Amendment, a food lover, a huge World War II history buff, a soccer fan, and a big reader. He's even writing a book about Yankton's World War II veterans called Yankton's Yardbirds. Dave is married to Stephanie, an interior designer, and they have 2 daughters, Ella and Harper. Please help me welcome Dave Hosmer.
Thank you. That was very, very interesting. Appreciate that. That's wonderful. So thank you for inviting me here today. I am very honored to be here. And thank you to the middle school. Thank you to everybody who came today. You know, as speaking gigs go, this is the best. I mean, you got a whole audience, a gigantic audience. So this is Veterans Day. It's the day we honor all persons who served in the American military. So let's get this started right. If you have been or are a member of the military, please rise. Let's stand up. Everybody who's been in the military, stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. All right. I don't see Gene, so, you know, my speech is in 3 parts today. You know, I'm not a veteran, and when people ask me, I usually kind of joke about it and say, well, we have a veteran in my family, but it was Abner Hosmer who fought at the Battle of Concord in 1775, so it's been a while. We're a little rusty. Probably the reason I was asked to speak here today is because I've interviewed a lot of veterans. I've interviewed 121 World War II veterans in Yankton, 51 World War II veterans around the country, 21 Korean era and Cold War era veterans, and 26 Vietnam veterans. So this is a moment for a shameless plug where I say in the near future you can buy a book that I have about World War II veterans. It's over 600 pages, and as my wife would attest to, I just don't know when to stop. So it's going to be, I'm very excited about it. Since 2014, I was fortunate to have met so many wonderful veterans, but it started with World War II. The wonderful part of that is I've learned so much from them, and will do my best to convey their collective wisdom. The sad part is that every one of them that I met was at least 85. And so I don't see him here today, but I invited him. Gene Bullion. Is Gene here by any chance? Did I miss him? He's not. Okay. So Gene is the last living World War II veteran in Yankton. I just want you to think about that for a brief moment. I'm going to tell you about Gene, okay? Gene grew up on a farm near Groton, South Dakota. He lived through difficult times. The dust on the roads was so thick his mother actually drove on the rims of her vehicle because she didn't know that it was flat. That's how much dust there was. His parents had 4 sons. All of them served in the military, and all of them came home. Gene was drafted into the Army in September of 1944, and boot camp was in Texas. February 19th, 1945, he took the Queen Mary over to Europe, ended up in Scotland. He said he basically was sick the entire way. He ended up in Belgium, where he met his unit, the 345th Regiment of the 86th Infantry, and his first mission was the Rhineland Campaign. It's basically a town where they were at between Cologne and Frankfurt. He recalls their attack very clearly. He tossed a grenade into a building filled with Germans, and he wondered, what good is that building? There were rumors of a sniper. He took his helmet off. He put a stick underneath it. He held it up. There was a rifle fire. It hit the helmet, and he said, yep, there's a sniper. The next thing he did was he crossed the Rhine River on March 26th under smoke and darkness. He was a lead scout, and he was hit by a sniper bullet. He's got a Purple Heart. He said to me, you don't think of fear or anything. This goes back to your training. I'm sure I was afraid, but I don't remember that. His unit was near Pilsen, Czechoslovakia when the war ended, and that's where he rejoined him. On his birthday, May 13th, his 19th birthday, as he said, all of us grew up pretty fast. He married Evelyn Hines in 1952, and they had 7 children. So Gene is 99. He'll be 100 years old next May. So, if we can do something special for Gene, that'd be great. But I will tell you that the World War II veterans will all tell you that they were just doing what they needed to do, their job, okay? So, I'm going to give you a few top 10 listings that they would want you as students to know from World War II veterans, from them to you. Number 1, be positive. Ken Hensler was my principal at Yankton High School, and every time he talked about battles with me, he was always positive. He wasn't negative. He was at Peleliu. He was at Okinawa. He was at New Gloucester. Number 2, don't smoke. Well, I met this guy named Ted Manzer from Atkinson, Nebraska. He said, well, I was on these planes flying them. I just get bored. So I'd try to stay awake by smoking. But he said, I gave it up when I got home, David, because smoking is bad. Okay, number 2. Number 3, be physically active. Cliff Hicks was my math teacher in high school, and he was in the baseball team. And when he got back, he was still in the baseball team, playing until 1962 when he was quite old for a baseball player. But get out and enjoy the fresh air, ladies and gentlemen. Number 4, don't think this is too corny, but marry the love of your life. I met this veteran. He was at Pearl Harbor, and he got married before he went in the military. And I said, why'd you do that? I said, a lot of guys just deferred. And he said, well, I guess I was in love. Okay, I could buy that. Who thought you'd get marriage advice from me today, right? Number 5, do all that you can to make sure that there is not another war. Martin Mazurek, who recently passed away, was a good man, and their family was an extraordinarily broad family. And he looked me straight in the eyes, David, and he said, you don't understand. War is hell. Take it from him. He'd know. Number 6, follow the rules. Darrell Adamson served in the Army, and they sent him over to Korea for the occupation. He was aboard ship one day, and someone stole a pie and sold it to him. He was about ready to eat the pie, and the armed guards came to him and said, you stole that pie. And he goes, I didn't. And they gave him 30 minutes to find the guy. That was for his alibi. He found the guy, and he threatened to box him. But they found the other guy guilty, and as his reward for being a good man, they gave him the pie. So Darrell Adamson, a good man. Number 7, work is good. This seems so logical, right? So Delmer Strunk is from Scotland, South Dakota. Delmer Strunk fought in Burma in the jungles with Merrill's marauders. And he had malaria, and he was dry heaving, he was suffering, he couldn't walk another step. And he just looked around and he said, if you get me out of this, I will work every day and I'll never complain. He made it home. He worked every day in the farm, and he never complained. So, good old Delmer, Merrill's Marauders. Number 8, look up to the stars. Ralph Hager from Crofton, Nebraska, he was in the Army. He was on an island called Cebu. And he said one night he was lonely, and he was laying in a foxhole, and he looked up, and he saw the Big Dipper. And he said, that's the same Big Dipper I see in Crofton, Nebraska. So for that moment, he felt like he was at home, no matter wherever he was at. Number 9, get an education. What needs to be said in a school? Get an education, right? Glenn Grotius, a good friend of mine, said he quit school in the 8th grade. He said it was the biggest mistake I ever made, Dave. He went on to get a college degree and a master's degree. And number 10, meet different people and travel the world. Ivan Vitek from Tabor, South Dakota, said the best thing about being in the military was I met people from all over, from every state. And he said, I traveled, and I loved it, despite the fact that he was in the Aleutian Islands and almost froze. Okay, so, all right, now I've gotten through the easy part. But what I want to do today is I want to talk to the students, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And I'm going to pretend this is a classroom. I'm going to teach you about Veterans Day. But I'm going to use something that's really, really important to the Yankton community. So, the 147th Field Artillery was activated after 9/11. A lot of you have heard of 9/11, and that was where terrorists hijacked 4 planes with the intent of killing everybody on the plane, making a political statement. So the 147th went into security for the Sioux Falls Airport. A field artillery unit operates cannons, artillery cannons. 147th is a component of the South Dakota National Guard. Every state has its own military, and in times of crisis, the president can nationalize those state units to help the U.S. military. Now, America evaluated in the Middle East where we were going to go after 9/11. One of the problems and one of the responses was Iraq. Saddam Hussein was causing problems over there. So the decision was made to go into Iraq. And we invaded March 20th, and the 147th was activated at Fort Sill for deployment in March of 2003. The initial phase went so fast, however, that the unit was deactivated and sent back home. Now, Americans remained in Iraq for the purpose of changing that country. The job, however, was very large, and the president knew he couldn't do it with just the military, so he activated the National Guard again for Operation Iraqi Freedom. Yankton's Charlie Battery, the 1st Battalion, left Yankton for Fort Sill, Oklahoma. They saw banners thanking them all the way down the highway to Columbus, Nebraska. In some towns, they got there and police escorts got them through the streetlights so they could buzz through the red lights. Didn't have to stop. Morale plays an important part in the lives of soldiers, and it is important to know that they are appreciated. It's always nice when you see a box with your name on it during the mail call, said Daniel Chuka. What really matters is supporting the troops. The men were excited because they were going to have an American flag sewn on their uniforms. The flag is an especially potent symbol for a soldier, you guys. And if you drive around town, I bet if you saw flagpoles, 9 out of 10, those big flagpoles are veterans. So give them a little respect, okay? After training at Fort Dix, the 147th received one final trip home before being deployed to Baghdad, Iraq. So who were the 151 members of Charlie Battery? They're just like you. They worked at BY Electric in Tabor, Wilson Trailer, Sherco. They went to college at the University of South Dakota. Some were husbands, some were fathers, some were sons, some were brothers. And I guarantee you would have seen members of Charlie Battery at a Yankton Bucks football game on a Friday night. In the late fall of 2005, Charlie was asked to train Iraqi police officers. Now just think about that. That's a pretty difficult task. But Charlie history has a long history dating all the way back to the Dakota Territory. These men were highly trained. They're comrades to one another. They're brothers. The men they would train lacked the cohesion, did not speak the same language, but they knew that the Charlie Battery could do it. It was a difficult thing that they needed to do, but they could do it. They had to travel to begin the training. So on December 4th, 2005, 20 years ago, this December, they climbed into 3 Humvees and drove away in a convoy. Some Iraqis did not want the Americans to be in Iraq. They could not directly fight the Americans, so they decided to plant bombs along the roads that the Americans traveled on. The military referred to these bombs as IEDs. You might hear that sometime. They could explode if a vehicle drove over them, and sometimes they were remote controlled. They could be very dangerous to Charlie members, but they still wore protective gear like bulletproof vests and ballistic glasses. The first Humvee passed a particular location. At that location, a second Humvee triggered an IED, causing an explosion. The convoy stopped. One of the men was trained in a civilian EMT and was in a school to be a paramedic. Philip Stiles ordered Sergeant Daniel Chuka to move up the Humvee to provide security and to permit EMT Sergeant Corey Brees to render assistance to the stricken vehicle and crew. As is noted in Chuka's Bronze Star citation, without hesitation and in full understanding of the danger, Daniel moved forward and a second explosion occurred. Just one, between the 2 explosions, Sergeant First Class Richard Shield and Staff Sergeant Daniel Chuka had been killed, and several people had been injured, including Sergeant Corey Breest, Specialist Alan Kovish Jr., and Private Warren Bender from Redfield. Medical personnel arrived within 7 minutes after the explosion. Now, just 1 month prior to that, the P&D caught up with the 147th families at Garrity's Prairie Gardens in Mission Hill. As much of a bond that exists between those young men in uniform, there is an unspoken network back home. Just as morale is important to those young men, it is equally important to the spouses and children who are without their loved one. That support group gathered for a full celebration to see barnyard animals, ride through pumpkin patch, and enjoy a slice of pie. You'll hear this from those loved ones. He doesn't want us to worry about him. He's more concerned about us than himself. But spouses do their very best to keep the morale of their soldier up. They stay strong for that soldier. They write letters. They send cookies. And local citizens donated money to those support groups. One group of waitresses gave up an entire day's amount of tips for them. Now, Richard Shield's brother Brooks was in Iraq. They roomed together. After he heard of his brother's death, he walked into their room. Everything was the same except his brother. He was filled with tremendous grief. However, he immediately knew what he had to do. His duty and brotherly love required him to escort his brother home. Have you ever heard or seen of a casket that's draped with an American flag? You probably have. Sometimes they're conveyed on airplanes. It's extraordinarily emotional. Everywhere that casket goes is a ritual. If you see it, any one of you, stop and pause, wait. Honor the family. Brooks experienced this, and it was extraordinarily moving. The funerals for Richard Shield and Daniel Chuka were very large, a demonstration of support for them and their families. Dignitaries arrived and spoke. Dedication, loyalty, bravery, sacrifice. The streets were literally lined with people. Now, I think you have to think about this for a brief moment. You weren't even around then, but the streets were lined with people with American flags fluttering in bitter, bitter winds. It was extraordinarily cold. Sergeant Shield was born in 1965 to Wally and Colleen Shield. He graduated from Yankton High School in 1984, obtained a BS degree from Mount Marty in 1988, and an advanced accounting degree in 1993. He married Kay Krejci in 1991, and they had 2 children, Keely and Colby. He worked at Chuck's Our Family Foods for many years before joining BY Electric in 1994. He was gaga for Christmas. He wanted Christmas trees to be up before Thanksgiving and on. He was a big, huge football fan, Vikings and Cornhuskers. A few months prior to his wedding, he enlisted the National Guard. His men described him as a soldier's soldier. According to brother, he was an optimist. If you were down and you needed encouragement, he was there. He was fond of saying, build a bridge, get over it. To remember Richard, the River Rat Marathon is run in his honor. Now just remember this, think about this. We're honoring this man 20 years later, and we're doing things to keep memories alive. Memories alive. I can't express to you how important that is. A scholarship was started at YHS. His friends launched the annual Rich Shield Memorial Fireworks display to kick off check days each year. And Richard would be 60 years old 19 days from today. Sergeant Chuka was born in 1978 to Brad Chuka and Rita Paterka Cunningham. He graduated from Yankton High School in 1996. 3 months prior to his enlistment, to that, he enlisted in the South Dakota National Guard. He married Melissa Brewer in 2000. They had 2 children, Abby and Alex. He worked at Wilson's Trail and was attending Mount Marty College part-time to attain a business degree. He had a natural ability to make people laugh. Life was all about having fun and including fun with his children. He was serious about the Guard. He considered it to be his extended family. He volunteered for search and rescue and loved everything about cars. Now, there were outsiders who came to Yankton about those funerals, but I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to besmirch the memory of these individuals. I just want you to know that funerals are extraordinarily important. And they were for the extended family of the 147th. Meanwhile, Corey Breest and Alan Kokish were in serious condition. Alan was taken to the Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio, Texas. His left leg was amputated, and he had other serious injuries along his left side. He breathed in super hot air and had inhalation burns. His parents arrived to support him, and on New Year's Day, 2006, President Bush visited him. The president said he was proud of Alan and his service and presented him with a presidential coin. When asked by the chaplain for a moment of prayer, Alan always said to the chaplain, "Don't pray for me, pray for my brothers in Iraq." Alan was in stable but critical condition, and he was improving. However, during his treatment, he began to experience complications. They rose to such a point that he passed away 7 February 2006. Specialist Kokish, subsequently promoted to sergeant, was born in 1984 and had 3 siblings. His parents are Alan and Christy Kokish, who are here today. He graduated from Yankton High School in 2003. He had a passion for sports, like many of you, I'm sure, including wrestling and football, was a member of the 2002 Bucks team, which went undefeated and won the championship, and he was named the special teams MVP. His wrestling squad won the ESD his junior and senior years. He was on the soccer team. He enjoyed music. He had a girlfriend, and he was happiest when she arrived in San Antonio to greet him. He initially swore that he would not follow his father's footsteps in the military, but he passionately enlisted after 9/11. He completed basic training during the summer of 2002. The procession route to the cemetery, just like his comrades before him, lined with flags waving. Some threw yellow roses in the streets in front of the hearse. His father said, "I always thought of him as my champion." Now, Corey Breest, who's with us today, was taken to the National Naval Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland. His wife Jenny joined him, and unexpectedly, so did Brooks Shield, who's with us today too. From Iraq, it was an immediate and immense moral boost and a sign of the support the family was to receive from the Yankton community. Now, Jenny, I probably shouldn't say this. This might be a lesson. Some women don't want to talk about their age, but at the time, she turned 24 while she was there. But the best present she got was the fact that Corey was improving. Shrapnel had entered Corey's right side. He had a traumatic brain injury, and his sight was impaired. Jenny said he was a strong-willed man. President Bush and First Lady Laura Bush visited Corey too and gave him a presidential coin and called him a hero. During those difficult days, Jenny recorded Kylie's singing voice and played it for Corey. Each time he heard her voice, his heart rate rose. His first words after waking up were Kai. Some doctors were realists, but the priests were optimists. Build a bridge. Get over it. The entire family had to move to California to be with Corey for his recuperation. In 2006, the 147th lost another young man, Staff Sergeant Greg Wagner of Alexandria, South Dakota. He was killed in Iraq, too. That grief was finally met with the joy of Charlie Battery returning in September of 2006. Now, when National Guards come back to the United States, they call it the deactivation ceremony. And the deactivation ceremony was enormous for Yankton. I cannot tell you how significant that was. According to tradition, there's a roll call when everybody comes back. And they made the roll call, and several names were repeated 3 times, but they couldn't reply because they weren't there. After that, there was an estimated 30,000 people along the parade route welcoming him back. And according to Brooks, he said, "I've never experienced anything like this in my life. It was just overwhelming." Every soldier needs and deserves that kind of support. After 18 months of therapy, Corey returned to Yankton, 28 June 2007. Jenny said it was fortunate. She was fortunate that he came home. The Yankton area raised $250,000. Think about that. To build an accessible home for the Brees. She was nearly at a loss for words. She said, "I could not have asked for a better community and state for people always backing us up." There was a huge welcoming party for them at the Summit Activity Center. Corey's commanding officer called him a true warrior who never quit fighting. Corey was the last member of Charlie to come home. Now, Jenny, many years later, described her husband as an ordinary person accomplishing extraordinary things. He was an ordinary family guy pursuing his dream to become a paramedic. She said Corey is often thanked for his service, and this is pretty common. He always says, "I was just doing my job." It's very humbling, and I would guess that every member of Charlie Battery would have said the exact same thing. The Brees have met many people who did not have the support that they did, and they have been leaders in an organization called Wounded Warriors. If any of you have ever heard of Wounded Warriors, this is a national organization that raises money for families who need assistance after being injured during war. She said it overcame some of her feelings of being alone at the time. In the past 3 years, each of the 3 men have been honored by the state of South Dakota. If any of you have driven on the highways, you'll see by bridges that we have around here, the names of the individuals there. So the state, when they did this, they wanted to ensure that their names are forever seen. It is about memory, not forgetting. Before I go any further, I want to stop right here. Corey's with us today, along with wife Jenny. Would you please join me in thanking Corey for his dedication to this country? I have to tell you, it's emotional. And you know, you're young enough so you don't know any of these things that we're talking about today, but it brings back emotions to a lot of other people in this room. Before I go any further, I want to ask Jenny, are you okay? See, she's Corey's caregiver, and he needs help 24 hours a day. It's stressful and rewarding. And I would guess Kylie, his sidekick, she was recently recognized as a caregiver for her superhero Corey. She was given a Dole Caregiver Fellowship, and her essay is entitled, "How Come No One Ever Asked Me?" It's very enlightening, the essay. As she said, all of the Brees family grew up very quickly. Now, as we gather here today, before I leave you with my final observations, I want to tell you another story. Gilbert Brummels lived in Coleridge, Nebraska. When I interviewed him, he was 100 years old. And during World War II, he was stationed aboard the USS Reed, which is a destroyer. Destroyers, if you've ever seen the movie Greyhound with Tom Hanks, that's a destroyer. And they escort big ships. So Gilbert was one of the guys who operated a cannon, a 5-inch cannon on board ship. And each shell that they put in the cannon weighs 50 pounds, and they travel up to 10 miles and can pass through 5 inches of steel at close range. He was proud to be a loader of that cannon. He told me how the cannon operated, the rammer, the loader, the pointer, the range, the setter. But this is what blew me away. He said it took 23 men to operate and to keep that going. 23 men. This leads me to the observation. The 5-inch cannon is all of the soldiers, sailors, Marines, and Coast Guarders here today, and all of us surrounding them are the people who keep them going. It takes a village to keep a soldier on the front line or a sailor on a ship. It really does. It's important that we remember and honor the men who died in 2005 and 2006. Do not forget their names. 20 years ago is a long time ago, but it feels like yesterday. It's important that we remember and honor the men who were injured on that day in 2005. Do not forget their names. 20 years ago is a long time ago, but it feels like yesterday. It's important to remember the other members of Charlie Battery who lost their comrade in arms. Do not forget them. 20 years ago is a long time ago, but it feels like yesterday. It's important to remember the family members of those men who died in 2005 and 6. They were the light and life of their lives. 20 years ago is a long time ago, but it feels like yesterday. It is important to remember the care providers of those men who were injured on that day in 2005. They are the light and life of their lives now. 20 years ago is a long time ago, but it feels like yesterday. Yankton loves the 147th. It's been proud to be its home and proud to work and live amongst its members. Yankton is proud of all of its veterans. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you for our guests for being here. Now, if you would turn your attention to the screen to tribute the Yankton Middle School students and staff veterans, and our YMS choir will sing. Upon the completion of the video, we will stand for the playing of taps by the YMS band members Duran DeYoung and Keenan Luke, and remain standing while the BF retires the colors.
that church in years at night. It don't matter where we touch down, on the angel flight is sacred ground. When I fly that plane, call the angel flight, got a hero riding with us tonight.
Thank you to everyone coming. There are cookies and coffee in the cafeteria for our guests. Students, you may go to your second period class.